Constitutionally, we've found that no plague can undermine our freedoms, but the occasion of plague can be used as a powerful tool to infect much more than just our bodies, to infect our freedom and our nationhood. Got to fight it. Don't just live the Constitution, live it bigger than ever. I'm Dr. Duke, and this is Constitution Corner. Well, if you're a reasonably sentient American and you've been paying attention over the last 10, 20, 30 years, you'll know that there are many, many threats to our constitutional system. We've got an increasingly left-wing and rabid Democrat Party that seems to be hungering for the red meat of socialism. Almost every candidate, to some degree, is moving the bar farther left with socialist policies. It actually amuses me that the Democrats are conspiring to kill off Bernie Sanders. There's no doubt that Bernie is the most vocal and the most open communist in the race. But the idea that somehow Bloomberg, who wants to get rid of the Second Amendment, or Buttigieg, who wants to transform the military, or Warren, who's an absolute socialist when it comes to the budget, comes to Wall Street, that these people are all that much different. But besides the obvious political threats facing our constitutional republic, now you have the coronavirus, and this is really interesting. The possibility of global pandemic, the possibility that there's going to be some biological or viral scourge that's going to cause widespread pandemic, that we're going to have people dying in huge numbers. Haven't quite gotten there yet with coronavirus, but it seems like we're heading in that direction, perhaps slowly. Nevertheless, these viruses, these pandemics, these toxic medical issues, they really don't know borders, do they? In some ways, they're a lot like the left when it comes to borders. These viruses cross borders illegally. They pay no attention to boundaries and limitations. Walls are useless in defending from coronaviruses, things like this. And there's another way that they have in common with those who would destroy our borders and our freedom. These viruses are a wonderful asset to the left because they provoke globalism. What if we had a global health? We have the CDC and we have the World Health Organization. But what if we subordinated all of the world's national and independent health services to a global health service? Think about how much faster we'd be able to react to these problems. Think about how much more unified and consistent the reaction to these once every 100-year bugs would be. Think about how much control, how much money can be fed from the richer Western countries into a great big globalist United Nations kitty bag that can then deal with these outbreaks in poorer countries who don't have the resources to do quite as good a job. This is a real open invite for all sorts of globalist, populist globalists, those who would popularize globalism, the one world nation people. And when you think about what disease does, you already see how the Democrats are playing it in this country. On the one hand, they're castigating Donald Trump because he's not, quote unquote, prepared enough. They're castigating Trump because he has not committed enough resources. And yet, every time Trump tries to do something that would mediate the possibility of the virus spreading more rapidly in the United States, they're after him for that too. It's a win-win. There's no hypocrisy here for the left. You can attack Trump both for being overprepared and for not being prepared enough. And both arguments, even though they're silly, give rise to a broader question. Should we have nations and individuals in nations in charge of this, or is this really a global issue? Do we need global governance and global centralization primarily for these reasons? And let's not forget global taxation. On the one hand, when Donald Trump started to add to the list of countries, the no-fly countries, to add to the number of countries we would not fly to, countries like Iran, where the virus seems to be uncontained, and China, where it originated. The progressive left basically called him a fearmonger. They basically said that he was being racist because it was primarily non-Western, non-white countries, whether it's China or Iran, to whom we were not sending planes. You got the whole litany of reasons why, the more careful he tried to be, or tightening up the border, right? One thing you can do to prevent cases from entering from South and Central America is really tighten up the American borders. And when he tried to do that, he was equally pilloried. So on the one hand, Trump's a boob. He's a minion. He appointed Mike Pence as vice president, who not only is not a doctor, according to the left, he's a guy who, quote unquote, doesn't believe in science, right? He's a guy who does not believe in science because he denies transgenderism, for instance, and various other things. He's a conservative Christian, so of course that means he doesn't believe in science. So like Reagan beforehand, who was supposedly this evil arch figure who allowed AIDS to propagate at unknown levels, so too with Mike Pence. The irony about that is that when Obama dealt with SARS and when Barack Obama dealt with certain kinds of viral issues like this, he always put in charge non-doctors as well. So the same Democrats that are howling about that, or Biden in the 1980s, the 1990s when he was a senator, he was exactly the same thing that he's accusing the Republicans of. He is guilty of, right? Panicking, brainstorming. Constitutionally, we've found that no plague can undermine our freedoms, but the occasion of plague can be used as a powerful tool to infect much more than just our bodies, to infect our freedom and our nationhood. Got to fight it. Don't just live the Constitution. Live it bigger than ever in the face of viruses. I'm Dr. Duke.